Hello and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to the channel. My name is Kata and I'm talking today about discovering and supporting your unique energy signature or blueprint. And this is for the purpose of Ascension, to help you understand how to rise faster, or how to actually ride this wave of ascension that we are currently going through. But quickly, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that has liked and supported my channel through subscribing. It means absolutely the world to me. I'm just so excited to see that more and more people are coming to my channel and watching my videos and taking in the information that I'm providing here. It really encourages me to keep going, to keep helping and supporting you guys as best as I can with what I know. So thank you so much to everyone. So getting into today's topic, you might maybe want to write some of these things down. It's up to you, but there's a lot of information I'm going to be covering in today's video. So this is really about how to choose certain spiritual practices that are based on your unique energy structure. So what does that really mean? Well, first we need to understand that which subtle bodies you need to work with, and to understand what subtle bodies or what parts of your energy field or energy centers you need to work on. There's some fundamental information that you're going to need to understand first in terms of how it actually works. So, because when you understand how something works, then you can really truly work on it. You can shift it. You can do different things that are going to help you align. So which chakras or energy centers need activation is something that you're going to need to know and understand. Which layers and centers need to be cleared or cleaned out. This is basically energy work. That's what I do in certain sessions, in energy healing sessions, is I clear out toxicity or dense energy within certain energy centers or within certain layers of the energy bodies. And for yourself, you can do this by actually tuning in to your own energy, tuning into yourself on a much deeper level, where you go beyond the mind and you go sort of beyond your physicality, and you're really reflecting inward in terms of like how you're feeling, how your body feels in certain areas, whether you feel density or pressure, or whether you feel a lightness or flow in certain areas of your body. Those are all going to be cues and indicators of how you're actually doing energetically. This definitely takes practice. As an energy healer, I know that for sure, that in order to be able to tune into your energy and how you're feeling, you need to practice that. You need to go into it frequently, and the more that you do it, actually, the more you're going to be able to get a clear sense of how things are actually feeling within you. And I say within you, but the layers of the aura are actually outside of our bodies, but the endpoints of those layers are connected and anchored into the physical body. Otherwise, you wouldn't be alive. You wouldn't be able to function in this physical 3D world. So you need to, you basically need to have an understanding of where you are energetically, how you're currently vibrating, before you're really going to truly be able to ascend. Because what is ascension? Ascension is a very high level of awareness. It is a very high level of mindfulness and being really tuned in to oneself. So not being outside of yourself, and your focus and your attention not being outside of you, but rather focusing on the inside of you and focusing on you specifically in terms of how you're feeling, what you're thinking, and what actions you're taking. So observing those three things are going to give you major insight into actually where you are on the ascension ladder at this time. Because our choices like reflect, right? What you choose to do in a day, what you choose to think in a day, and what you choose to feel in a day, because we have choices over our feelings, are really really good indicators of where you're at, you know. And if you're constantly in a lower state, you're gonna know that you're in a lower state because you don't feel good, because you're feeling depressed, because you're feeling anxious, because you're feeling out of balance, right? These are all indicators to us of how we're actually vibrating, what we're actually vibrating, what energy signature our body is emanating out. So your point, sorry, going back to my notes here. So these are things that you need to know before you can ascend to higher levels of spirituality and understanding. So there are certain things that are going to be blocked within you that are going to prevent you actually from ascending at this time. And if you don't know what is blocked within you, if you don't understand how to shift these blockages and clear them, then ascension is going to be a difficult process for you. You're going to feel stuck. And a lot of people that feel stuck at this time right now are feeling so because they lack awareness of how they're vibrating. They're lacking awareness of where they're at spiritually and vibrationally. Because your point of attraction is your current vibration. So everything that you're currently attracting from the outside world into your life, like experiences, people, all kinds of things, everything that you're attracting is attracted based on your vibration. And so that's your point of attraction. And your current vibration is based on your level of consciousness. So we're always vibrating out a certain frequency based on how aware or not aware we actually are. Meaning that your current flow of energy or lack of flow of energy is based on how open or how restricted your energy centers and your energy channels or meridians are in your physical body, and how much density or light you are able to generate as a result. So we create our own levels of density or of light, again, depending on our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions. So what you do always matters, what you think always matters, and how you feel about those things always matters, because it creates your point of attraction. So your unique energy signature forms a specific sacred geometrical shape, believe it or not. And that geometrical shape often is like a mandala. So it's like, think of it this way, it's like we're all a bunch of beautiful mandalas shaped and formed in different way energetically, walking around in the world. And so I'm just going to show you a quick example here. That is basically what it kind of can look like, again, depending on your level of awareness, depending on what you're currently vibrating out individually, which is completely unique to you. So your level of consciousness also gives clues about your soul's level of maturity, which is affected by lifetimes of experience. So often when I'm working with clients and we're doing energy healing work, which really means we're clearing out the old gunky stuff that doesn't work, and filling and replacing that density with light. That's what energy work is, or that is the type of energy work that I do. When I'm working with clients and I'm explaining to them certain densities that I'm finding within their energy field, I also explain to them, because it'll come in my mind's eye, I'll get pictures or I'll get very specific information in terms of what kind of damage was accumulated from any previous lifetimes that they have had, which is a part of their soul signature, which they are now bringing into this lifetime to work out that density and to, clear that density so that they can ascend and vibrate at a higher level. So the level of maturity can be recognized in the physical body, in the etheric body, in the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual bodies. So these are all different layers to us that we have, energy layers that we have within our energy field. And they're each affected, of course, by previous lifetimes. And not just previous lifetimes, but of course, experiences from this lifetime also, because it's accumulative, right? We're constantly accumulating experiences every single day. We are constantly having experiences, and those experiences and the feelings that we have about those experiences and the thoughts that we have about those experiences, and then the actions, certain actions that we take when it comes to those experiences, all vibrationally get integrated into your physicality, into your body, into your soul, and really creates a certain energetic vibration or frequency, which is going to be very unique for each individual, right? Because we all show up differently to different things. We all deal with problems or challenges in different ways. So it's very individual and very unique to each person. So your level of maturity is or can be very different in all of these areas. And something else I'm noticing is that it's not the same in each layer. So while for one person, maybe their like etheric body is, you know, vibrating high and is in a very stable energy, the next level, like their emotional body, could be completely out of whack and could be and usually like I'll pick up just a lot of density, a lot of attachments, a lot of cords and all kinds of different energy forms that are in that layer. So we're not all the same. The layers of our aura is not all the same. It's very, very different and very unique to each of us. So like, for example, if you have a high level of maturity in the mental body, and this is actually an example of today's world and how many people in today's world operate. So they have a high maturity in their mental body, but they have a very, very immature emotional body. So which is, like I said, very common. And that immaturity in the emotional body is what makes them respond a certain way to certain challenges and difficulties. It's what makes them get triggered or lash out or do those kind of things. That's all immaturity within the emotional body. Now that, yeah, I'm going to get into some examples later. I don't want to jump ahead of myself. So that's all you need to know about that for right now. Now, your speed of ascension, it really depends on how balanced each of these levels are, and like within you, like the emotional, the mental, the etheric, the spiritual, the physical. And that's why certain initiation practices won't work for some people. So I'm going to use ayahuasca here as an example, because ayahuasca in recent years has become very, very popular, and a lot of people have been seeking ayahuasca rituals and going to like Peru and different parts of the world or locally, wherever they can do it. And some people will have like a beautiful experience from ayahuasca, and they'll just have like literally supernatural experiences where they connect to angels or divine beings, or they see their higher self, or just have like some kind of, or lots of colors, and like it really activates them in their spiritual body. Where other people who do the same ayahuasca ritual and practice could literally experience hell. And they could go through like a really deep, like dark night of the soul experience, and just see a lot of darkness and heaviness and some really, really scary things. And the reason why that happens is because of these imbalances within the layers, and because of the maturity or lack of maturity within these layers for each individual. So the other thing is that you won't be able to you won't be allowed to into higher realms unless you work on these underdeveloped parts of yourself. So when I talk about the journey throughout my videos and throughout several of my videos, I talk about the journey quite often. This is what I mean. The journey is about recognizing what parts of yourself are mature or immature, and those immature parts, working on those, and first of all, acknowledging them and recognizing them, and then working on them with specific practices is the work. That is the journey. That is doing the work to ascend, to rise or elevate faster. Every thought feeling and every impulse to action that you have creates a particular energetic movement or activation within your energy field, its layers, and its centers. So let me say that again. Every thought, every feeling, and every action, impulse to action, creates a particular energetic movement or activation within your field, the layers of that field, and within the energy centers. What does that really mean? It means that consciousness and energy work together. So your mind, the consciousness, your awareness, and your energy all works together. This is why certain visualization and meditation practices are so effective at shifting your life. And if you've ever done meditation, or if you have ever done visualization, then you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about right now. So as well as like yoga and qigong and grounding practices, these are all specific energy practices, right? Where you're using consciousness to move energy. So it's like there's consciousness practices and energy practices, but the two are working together constantly and simultaneously. So you determine your own spiritual development in each lifetime with your choices of what you think and feel and do. That's why it's not about monitoring our thoughts, but rather being aware of how our thoughts make us feel. And this is something I've been really paying attention to myself. And I'm noticing as I'm moving along my ascension journey, I'm really noticing how the more I pay attention to how my thoughts are making me feel, the more I'm actually tapping into those parts of myself that I still need to work on. It's giving me an understanding. It's giving me information of what I still need to overcome, where I still have density within my consciousness or within my energy field that needs to be worked out. So I'm going to provide some examples of just different things that show up for us in our current lives, and what part of the energy layers are affected by those circumstances, and what that can stem from, and then what you can do to fix it or to help clear that density. So, for example, if you're easily triggered by other people, by what they said, or by criticism, or by similar things like that, just getting easily triggered in general by anything is usually a sign that your emotional body is actually immature from previous wounding. So your emotional body is going to be your focus. It's going to be something that you're going to need to focus on really working with and developing further so that you can mature it past those triggers. And so something that would help support that actually would be choosing spiritual practices like yoga, and even within yoga, choosing specific postures that will help release and heal the emotional body. So that's very, very connected to the heart. So working with the heart in yoga practice and specific like mudras that you do and specific postures that you do for to open up heart chakra is going to actually help to heal your emotional body. It's going to help release density from your emotional body so that you can ascend to a higher level of maturity. Another one would be escapism. So escapism, the example of escapism, like with drugs or alcohol or really any other substance abuse, where the person is looking to escape their reality. Often people like that will have out-of-body experiences as well, where they literally just come out of their bodies, like the soul kind of emanates out of the physical body. These are a sign that your astral body needs work and healing. And development. So this actually comes from not feeling safe in a 3D form, because the soul is without 3D form prior to birth, once we are in physical form, you may have had experiences in previous lifetimes where you did not feel safe in your physical form. Therefore, you're actually constantly trying to escape your current physical reality. You're trying to, it's like you don't want to be here. Simply put, you are not experiencing earth life, or just your life on this earthly plane in a balanced way, and it makes you want to escape and run from it and actually just get out of your body altogether and not have the experience. So for people like this, and this of course comes from trauma for sure in previous lifetimes, this can be caused actually by persecution and a lack of acceptance by society in previous lifetimes. So that's something to really consider. And if you are someone that often uses escapism to cope with current society or with the current world or just with your current existence, then this is something that you need to become aware of and realize and recognize that you're escaping because you have a lot of trauma around that. Previous lifetimes have put you through certain experiences that where you just really didn't feel safe. So for you specifically, grounding exercises are going to be extremely helpful. Spending a lot of time in nature, connecting with animals and plants, doing things like gardening, anything that has to do with the natural world more than actually, yeah, because in this case, it's not necessarily working with people, but it's actually working with the natural world to help your astral body kind of get acquainted and to get comfortable with existing here on planet Earth at this time. And the more you level yourself out, the more you balance this energy within yourself, the easier time you're going to have connecting with other people. And because as you start to heal, it's going to become like a lighter and a lighter experience. It's going to start to feel more safe for you to be here and to interact with others. Another example I'd like to provide is being closed-minded or stubborn. So people that are very dogmatic in the way that they're thinking, people that are very kind of my way or the highway, or just have like these blinders, these imaginary blinders on, and they walk through life that way, and they're not interested in other people's opinions, and they don't want to hear other people's opinions, and they're not open to other suggestions. They're not open to fresh and new ideas. People that have these kind of issues are, they have a very underdeveloped mental body. So this actually could stem from lifetimes where knowledge was forbidden, or you had no access to higher learning. So it could be from a lifetime where you lived in a very primitive way, very basic. It was all about survival, and there was no education or higher education of any kind available to you. That would have left a very deep imprint upon your life at that time, or upon your soul, I should say, in that lifetime. And I always say the soul is like full of tattoos, right? It has all these energetic tattoos, different energy signatures of different experiences. And those different tattoos are on different layers of our soul and of our energy field. And they're resonating and vibrating at a certain frequency and constantly being projected out. So somebody who, like I said, is very close-minded, it means that they need to, and that they have an opportunity to develop that in this lifetime, to work on their mental body. So, and of course, this is always choice, right? I remember I talked about choices earlier. So reading books and educating yourself on spiritual topics and practicing what you learn to develop your mental body is going to be hugely helpful for you. It's going to help to sort of take away, or those imaginary blinders will just naturally fall away for you as you start to become more and more open to new concepts and to new ideas. But just understand where it is coming from, and how you can shift out of it. So it's definitely working on educating yourself in spiritual practices specifically. Because what I find too when I work with clients sometimes is that somebody could be extremely book smart, extremely intelligent in terms of regurgitating information, in terms of just, reflecting back things that they learned. But then when it comes to actually integrating that knowledge within their soul's blueprint, that part is often can be skipped or skimmed over. So they'll have a very sort of empty spiritual experience, yet their mental activity is like extremely high. So it's like, but they're like poor spiritually and perhaps morally, right? But yet they're like a genius when it comes to certain things. So lots of different ways that we can sort of look at ourselves and analyze kind of where we are at. So this is why tuning into yourself and sitting in quiet contemplation will help you actually the most to determine what areas you need to work on and how you need to work on them. So it's all about identifying where you are currently at. Where do you feel least flexible in your life at this time? Where do you feel like you are putting out the most resistance at this time? Because that's a really good indicator and a clue of what you actually need to work on in this lifetime. And don't forget that every single lifetime builds on the other. It's like time and space is continuous. It is never ending. Even though we have clocks and we measure time, time is actually completely continuous and never ending. And it's in a constant state of flow. So as we move along our spiritual journeys and as our soul moves through lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes, which with each lifetime, we are accumulating experiences, we are accumulating certain knowledge and certain development, certain maturity. And in some cases, actually, we also could be developing immaturity. So it's like you can actually go backwards too with your development if you have certain experiences or if you choose to do certain things that are going to hinder your spiritual growth. So your higher self, which is connected to God, that is that golden thread of connection, the higher self is constantly connected to God, will actually guide you through your intuition, so through your feelings, to what you need to work on to bring your soul vibration into balance. So trusting your intuition and trusting your gut feelings and just those innate little nudges that you get about certain things are actually going to guide you specifically to the areas that you need to develop if you choose to listen to it. So for example, like, oh, I should do yoga. Then that's your higher self, God, communicating through you, through your intuition, that, hey, you need to develop some that you need to work on, your emotional body. It could be actually several bodies simultaneously, but, or like, I should read that book, or, different ideas like that you get are going to indicate to you what areas you need to work on. And yoga could also be a grounding practice, right? So it just depends on what kind of postures do you feel like doing when it comes to yoga, because you might be working on several layers simultaneously, which I actually found for myself that when I'm doing certain stretching or certain yoga, it's like elevating my spiritual body while it's simultaneously grounding me and simultaneously like maturing my emotional body and releasing certain things from my emotional body. So it's like I feel like I work on 3 different areas when I'm doing just a simple yoga or stretching practice. When I go outside for my walks, for example, then I feel that's definitely like a deep grounding meditation that I seem to go into. I feel super connected. I'm watching the birds. Like I'm just so in tune with the natural world when I'm out for walks. I'm not like plugged in or looking at like people so much or other things like that. I'm really focused on just tuning into the natural world when I'm outside, which I know in that moment that grounding is really, really helping me to anchor myself more here into the physical. I have had out-of-body experiences before, for sure. And I know when I had those experiences, I had a very, very direct knowing and feeling that I didn't really want to be here, that I really wasn't enjoying my sort of 3D experience, and I just didn't want to be here. And that feeling of not wanting to be here, I can completely see and connect it back to visions previously that I've had, long time ago, that I've had about lifetimes where I was persecuted and I was called a witch and I was burnt for it. So it's so crazy when I kind of connect these dots and see how much, how much of an effect I've had, previous lifetimes have had on my soul. So it's super complex. I'm really trying to make this simple, and I'm trying to make it like understandable, because it's deep and it's complex, and it can be very difficult sometimes to understand and to connect these dots, but I'm trying to explain it in a way so that it kind of makes sense for you. So each lifetime is a platform providing an opportunity to ascend further. Each era that you experience, each era in terms of when you're born even, and what's available, and what the world kind of looks like, and how the world operates during that period of when you are born, are all actually clear